Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with the comic John Kurschner. John Kurschner, how the hell are you?
I'm good, dude. I'm good. I thought we were going to be on video.
You don't want to see my ugly face, dude. What are you talking about? I took a good picture once about a year ago, and that's the one I'm sticking with.
That's it. I shaved for you. I put makeup on. I even put a fucking shirt on.
Yes.
I even set myself in my studio with my podcast thing behind me, thinking this is going to be on video. Let's do it the right way. And now here I am. Now the shirt's off, my pants, everything's off now. So if you flip the video on now, it's my dick. You're gonna have my dick on there.
I love that. Like you went from fully dressed, perfectly dressed, to naked in about 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you must be fucking just happy to be done because you just got done with the 5th Borough Comedy Festival, and that's something that you help run.
Yeah. Oh God, it's over. Yeah, 2020 is over. Oh my, we were running around for venues because every venue has to be outside.
Oh
so
yeah.
We lost all of our venues that we originally had booked, and we had
Lord.
to
when did that happen? Like, and at what point did they fall through?
As soon as this, I don't know if you heard, but there's some virus going around.
It goes to Staten Island too, I guess.
It reached usually the smog. Things don't get through that barrier of dirt and despair, you know.
Dude, but you were able to scramble up some venues. I had on I think I had Travis Grant. Yeah, I had Travis Grant on earlier today, and he was able to go savage on the 5th Borough Comedy Festival. I was kind of talking about his comedy in general, and maybe he tweaks it a little bit for different audiences. But for the Staten Island audience, they eat up his savagery.
Well, when you have someone like Travis Grant on, you're gonna have a lot of he's like really out there, dude. You know.
But yeah, so that plays well in Staten. And so although you might be, I think you're currently New Jersey based, but you're from Staten Island. You grew up there?
Yeah, I grew up in Staten Island. I'm usually always in Staten Island.
Okay.
Or the city.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know why that Twitter thing says he is New Jersey. I don't know why it would do that to you.
I don't know. Twitter, I don't really use Twitter that much. I gotta get on that. I gotta get on the Twitter. So now I gotta tell you how old I am. I got to get on the Twitter.
Yeah,
all the kids are on it.
Yeah, now that you're a Koppen with Comic guest, man, I start retweeting all the funny stuff, man. I think I follow thousands of comedians, and they're all on mute until they go on the Koppen with Comic podcast, and then it's the unmute, and I retweet all the funny stuff, and that's that's gonna be John Kurschner.
Yeah, maybe I'll go back on Twitter for you.
Yes, please, and take off that Jersey thing and put Staten Island immediately. Okay, yeah. So let me know what goes into other than losing all your fucking venues. How many comics come through the 5th Borough Comedy Fest?
Oh, like you want like a total number of comics? I'd say like 80, like 80 comics.
How many days? Is it one weekend or a couple weekends?
It's a week. It's 5 days, about 13 to 15 shows, and we just go. We start on this year. We started on the Tuesday, the 8th, and we just went for a week and a half nonstop.
Holy shit! So I mean, does it usually go a week, and this time you did it a week and a half because of the pandemic or something?
This time we did it we went a little longer because we had rainouts. I never thought I'd have a comedy show postponed due to rain.
Yes, getting heckled by the thunder. I think somebody got heckled by the thunder, somebody got rained out, and somebody calls it the train spot instead of the check spot. So it's like these.
Oh yeah, that's you must have spoken to somebody that's doing spots at the Tiny Cupboard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was just
the J train goes by during your set.
Yeah, and the audience is like, you don't have to stop. You don't have to stop. You can keep going and fucking.
But they don't understand though. They don't.
Yeah. They're like, usually you just stop and acknowledge that shit. But yeah, Eric Branstein, I had him on earlier, and he was Tiny Cupboard. But that's a big time venue, man. Everybody's trying to get to Tiny Cupboard or the Bel Air Diner, and a Pretty Sweet Park show or something like that. And so, so have you kind of been able to kind of keep your although you've been hustling administratively, pulling together a festival, have you been able to kind of keep your stand up comedy chops sharp?
Yeah, all of those things that you named, I'm doing all of those things.
Yes.
Park shows, not many. Park shows are probably my least favorite out of all of these makeshift shows. But park shows, drive-in shows, rooftop shows.
Yeah.
Just
Did you roast? Did you do a Matt Maron roast or no?
I've never
Roast
done the
battle?
Comedy Fight Club. Still
Okay.
have not. Every year, the Comedy Fight Club is part of the festival. We always
Yeah, he
include
said
them.
so. Yeah. Okay, so did you actually see it? I mean, like, how many of these
Oh
shows
no,
are
yeah,
you actually seeing? Like, you
of
can't be
course.
everywhere at once, and so, like, out of the 80 comics, how many sets were you able to catch?
I probably was able to see more than 50 of them. You know,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I was running from one spot to another, like I
That's
do every
awesome.
year.
And did
And
you see? I mean, like, kind of, if you were to sum it all up, I mean, you're the man on this. You got your ear to the ground. So if you had to sum it all up, what would you say as far as post-pandemic comedy, man? Like compared to years past, is it kind of darker? Is it more just kind of frustrated, or what's the comedy content across 80 comics? If you're able to sum up 50 comics or whatever.
oh, it's good, dude. It's
Yeah,
good. Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's good. It's better. The comedy is better. Everyone's changing their shit.
yeah. The best laid plans, man. They finally realized that their life plan was shit,
That's it.
and so you might as well just get up and make people laugh.
Yeah, they're changing their material. I mean, I haven't done. Since this pandemic, I've probably done, I don't know, like 150 sets,
Okay.
and um, I'm barely using any of my pre-pandemic material.
Wow. And was it
Everything,
that
yeah,
you were observational before and that's why you had to change it? Or even does personal stuff have to go through the lens of the pandemic now?
yeah. No, it's almost like the stuff before the pandemic. It's not relevant anymore.
Wow.
I
And
can't talk
even if
about my daughter coming out
oh,
of school. You know.
oh, yeah. So even the personal stuff, because your personal life has been so affected, it naturally will change.
I think
Unless you
that's
want to
why.
get up there and be a
That's me.
liar. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me. Not everything I do has like it's mostly truth. I stretch some shit, but
Yeah.
a lot of my material is now it's got some kind of COVID in it. Not cheesy, tacky, not like so COVID, huh? It's more like
Yeah, my set has been infected by COVID in that
it's
now everything
yeah,
has changed. It's
yeah.
changed by COVID, and so naturally the truth is going to be reflected in the same manner. And is that, I mean, so that's my time. Your fucking podcast, was that started during the pandemic or was it started before?
It started right like literally right before we had the ball rolling, like with it like probably like 6 months before the pandemic.
Okay.
And then I think our first episode we did in maybe January. We were like, all right, let's go. Oh, we're going. Oh, I built the studio. This is great. Let's soundproof it. Oh, let's get
Good.
the top of the line microphone. The first 4 episodes of my podcast, I wasn't even recording through all of the expensive equipment that we got. It was still going through my computer, and I didn't even know. That's how much I knew about podcasts.
You built out a beautiful studio, but you weren't really using it.
Was not using it. I should have just done it outside.
You gotta know this. Yeah, you gotta fucking learn that expensive equipment, man. Yeah, I was doing it at QED Astoria for the first 80 episodes, and I had a tech there. Like, that's how clueless I am with
Yeah.
technology. I had somebody there. I paid somebody hourly to be there, probably pushing a button, and he was great. I mean, he was amazing. He helped me on some other shit, and he also helped me transition to the remote shit. But now that I'm remote, it's like, I don't know if I ever want to go back in studio, because those studios are small, and I had 8 to 10 comics a day back in the day, and if any of them had COVID, everybody had COVID. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
would give it to the other. Go ahead.
where in QED did you record?
They have a
On the
basement. Yeah,
stage?
they have a
Or
basement.
downstairs?
Yeah, and
Oh.
so they got it's a tiny basement that's perfectly tricked out, with soundproofing and all that bullshit. But it's in a basement, and it's in a sub room within a basement, and so I'm 3 feet from people, and I'm laughing my ass off at all these fucking comedy guests. And so if
Yeah.
one person had it, I give it to the other 9, and then those 9 would go bring it to every fucking show on a rooftop or in a park. I'd be one of them super spreaders. And so I even have time left. Like, I still have time spent, like studio time, that I still can kind of take advantage of. But it's like, even when this thing opens, it's like, I might fucking, do you think I'm going to make somebody come on a train, even if like a vaccine is sort of available? It's like,
Yeah. I've made someone come on a train.
yeah. And that's John Kurschner, ladies and gentlemen. That's the kind of material he tends to do on stage, even with the wife and kids, right?
Oh yeah, I don't bring them on stage. Oh.
I can make them come on a train, dude. And I still fuck my wife. Yeah. And
Once
so
in a
kind of
while.
what is making its way into kind of the comedy? Is it all the personal stuff? Is it, you being a sports guy, you being a music guy? I know we share love for Incubus.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Are you allowed to bring that into? Yeah, that sucks, man. You can't bring your love of Incubus onto the stage.
No.
Hopefully onto the pod. Hopefully onto your pod. No, is it? Have you been
Mike
able to
doesn't let
license
me.
anything? Oh, okay. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, there's some of it makes it on. We get some music references on the podcast.
Yeah.
But for the most part, my on stage is basically just it's like me laying in bed arguing with my wife, but instead I'm on a stage arguing to the audience.
Yeah.
It's really what it is. It's just everything that happens in my house and throughout the day with my kids. That's what makes it onto the stage.
You're
Luckily
able to
for me.
vent about it on stage.
Yeah, if I didn't have the kids and before I had the wife and the kids, I was doing stand up. That's probably why I was so bad, because I didn't have them to make fun of.
Wow.
I was trying to pinpoint it, but.
And so, yeah, so it's good. And I guess, I think Mike Kaplan said something like that. It's like, now I'm more relatable just because my personal life is slightly more relatable getting married or whatever. And so before, like, were you telling dick and fart jokes or were you, back when you back when you started, yeah. Back when you were kind of a newbie, were you applying your trade on Staten Island or would you come into Manhattan or Brooklyn, I suppose?
Well, I first started on Staten Island. It was the first night that I've ever did stand up was on Staten Island in an Italian restaurant that my friend owned. And he made me do a comedy show. I said, I don't do comedy. He goes, you do now. I'm like, all right. So I had.
Why? Because he thought you were funny or because he wanted to entertain?
Well, he thought I was funny.
Yeah,
Everyone's always thought I was funny. Just I never even thought about doing stand up until April 2007. That's the exact day.
Okay.
And this dude made me go on stage. I invited I think he was just trying to get people to go to his restaurant. And he knew that I would have 80 people to come watch me make a fool out of myself. And that was it. So I did it the first night. And then I thought that I was the best.
Because you killed. You had a real audience who came to see you, right?
Oh, I killed.
And then you go to Mike's and it's dog shit. There's no comment. There's no people paying attention.
There's nobody. Yeah, everyone's just looking down. And back then, it wasn't really frowned upon to look down and write into your notebook as the comic was on stage. Now it is. Now there's some mics where they're like, you can't go and you can't be looking down. I mean, that's
good. Yeah, that's my experience too. Like the first time I did in Chicago, like I killed in front of a real audience. It was amazing. And then you move to New York City and you have fucking that happen. Like at best they will smile, they will not laugh at all, or they're just looking down and getting ready for their own set. And you're like, why the fuck are we doing this? But I suppose it's saying your thing out loud, maybe half paying attention to see if there's anybody you want to connect with, because these are some of your peers where you might actually start a podcast with them, start a show with them, start a
Well, I'm still doing open mics, and what I learned as you get deeper into stand-up, a more seasoned comic knows what they need to get out of that specific mic. Like you might think I'm there that night to go over this 5-minute set when it's really just 3 seconds of a joke that I'm just trying to tweak.
And how can you tweak it if you don't get a response? Is it just you want to hear what it sounds like out loud?
I'm going to get a response.
Really?
You're going to get a response. Yeah.
Out of people who aren't paying attention?
You got to find out who is paying attention. You look out there, you look at who is paying attention, and that's who you're trying to get the response out of.
Wow.
Sometimes I'll go out a lot with these guys that I do shows with, and I'll look at them, or I'll talk to them after, that's
good.
But most of the shows that are being produced in the city are being produced by comedians. So those comedians are at mics and they're at rooftop shows watching you saying, oh, he'd be an asset to my show. Instead of saying, oh, I need to give him a spot because he gave me a spot. You want these comics to start saying, should I want him on my show because he'll make my show better? I mean, I wish that would happen for me, but it will.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And sometimes these mics are after these rooftop shows, like James Mack was on. He's like, okay, there's this show and then my show, and stay after because there's going to be a mic too. And you're like, that's fucking cool. Like I can go see a couple solid shows and then I'll also, apply my craft, try some new stuff, maybe in front of some of the comics who are on the earlier shows.
Well, that's a good, that's a tactic that comics that produce shows use.
Okay.
To have more people at the show is to say that there's a mic afterwards.
Oh, cool.
Which is not the worst thing. It's not because halfway through the show you have comics starting to pile in. It makes the show fuller, and that's one of the tactics. Which is not a bad thing. I think it's a good thing actually.
Oh yeah, man. We're all fucking trying to get people to the show so that to the extent they have a tactic that might occasionally work, man, it's good they're trying it. And what is Raveling Thread Comedy? That's a free monthly comedy show, and I guess was that going on before? And is it staying on during the pandemic?
Yeah, the Raveling Thread Show. That's me and my buddy Nick Cara. We started doing that about 3 years ago.
Okay.
It's a monthly or bi-monthly show. Sometimes we do it every few weeks.
Okay.
It's a monthly show out of Rosebank Tavern in Staten Island. That's been going strong for like almost three. We're coming up on 3 years in January, and it's a strong show. I started the show basically for comics that want to do a spot where they don't have to bring people out. You know, I'm going to supply the audience.
Wow.
I'm giving you a spot deservingly, and you come down and do it. And we never had a dead show yet. We've had some shows where they were like a little, a little quiet, but we try to pack the place out for the comics.
Yeah, I think I see John Marcos Cerezi on there, and he's fucking hilarious. And so it sounds like you're bringing some hot comics out there, and why not, man? If you're a real fucking audience, who the fuck
we
wouldn't
brought a
come
few
out
people
there?
up. Yeah, I mean, there's some comics like Jim Marco, like guys where the regular person will never hear of them yet, but they're gonna be big.
Oh yeah, oh fuck yeah, dude! I'm retweeting that guy constantly, man. His Twitter feed is fucking off the hook, you know.
Yeah,
Like, John. It's just like John Kushner. Yeah, once he gets on Twitter, man, he's gonna have to just start slaying, just like John Marcos Cerezi, right?
I'm gonna have to go back on Twitter. I'm gonna have to make it. Is there a way to make my Facebook posts go directly to Twitter, or is it only vice versa?
I think there is, but you might have to, get some sort of free or supported, meaning like ad supported service. There's something called Hootsuite, and Hootsuite will allow you to do it, but I think there's a limit on how many you can do per day or per week. So
yeah, you lost me at ad provided service.
But I don't remember if Hootsuite was free, but yeah, like the minute you wanted to go above a certain amount, that's when you would have to pay. So it might not even be ad, but yeah, I think there's a way to coordinate it, but you're going to have to probably download a separate service or something.
Yeah, it's weird that I never got into Twitter.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Why not? Well, some of it's in your, you're a funny guy, but it might be delivery too. Like, we need to see with some of your front-facing videos. Are you putting any kind of comedy? I think a lot of the shows and I'll mention the Instagram is the Kursch, Kursh, and the Twitter is the Kursch Comedy. And so, are you putting any kind of front-facing videos of you doing comedy online, like any characters or rants or whatever that we can look forward to online?
Yeah, just check my Instagram. Anything video or pictures, mostly video, I throw on Instagram.
Yeah, I see you playing a video game here. When you have a yard sale and realize there's no fucking way you're selling your old Super Nintendo. You're playing Super Nintendo outside your garage. Is that you, or is that somebody else at your yard sale?
No, it's me. I had a garage sale, okay. And these scavengers, they come out like at 6 a.m. They're like, "You got any video games?" I'm like, "You're 93. What are you doing with video games?" They're very into video games. So the first day of the yard sale, I had no video games. Okay. The next day, my mother comes with a fucking bucket of old Super Nintendo games. I'm like, "Where did you get these?" My mom's like, "Baby John, I've been holding these for 20 years. Wow. I started going through them. All the games that I had sitting in front of me combined were worth like $3,000.
Yeah, you're not selling any of those, right? You just started playing it? You didn't sell them, did you? I
didn't sell the systems. I sold a few games. Okay. I had a game that was worth $130. What the fuck?
Yeah.
How does that even happen?
Yeah, but I mean, the scavengers at the yard sale are not going to pay that price for it, are they?
No, there was a guy that's like, "I'll give you $100 for the whole table and the table." I'm like, "You're not getting the table. I'll tell you that. The table's $39.99 alone. I know that for sure."
These fucking, it's so funny. Like, yeah, when one person learns about it, maybe they post it somewhere and then everybody comes out. That's fucked up. Like, after they've picked it over, they will post it on Facebook or in some group somewhere for fucking scavengers. That's hilarious.
Oh, these guys are nuts. These yard sale freaks. They're yard sale freaks. I had my mother-in-law at the yard sale. It was a borough-wide yard sale, so it was out there already. I had my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law says, "John, she's a Spanish woman. I want to come by. I have some things to sell." I'm like, "Come on over." So she brings like buckets and buckets of like linen and like shit that you'd only find in Puerto Rico, like on the street. You know what I mean? Like, who's selling textiles? I mean, what are we doing? So every person that grabbed one of her street curtains. So how much is this? My mother-in-law would be like, "For that, 25 cents. People were just digging through. "How much for this? 25 cents. I'm like, "Mom, this is not 1930. Yeah. You can't sell things for 25 cents.
And why would you do all that work to fucking, sell it for only 25 cents? I'd either fucking toss it, give it to Goodwill, or just, or charge more. Who the fuck is coming all the way out to your place to fucking,
Yeah, I didn't care.
25 cents. But yeah, some of these people, they value stuff and they're like, "Well, I really think that somebody can get some good use out of it, so we'll sell it for 25 cents. That's fucking great. Like, are your kids old enough to be in the same video games you were, or no?
Yeah, my son is 16 and my daughter is 9. So my son plays. My son is playing right now. He doesn't stop playing.
He's probably PlayStation or whatever. He's not playing the same shit you play, right?
No, he did. He messed around with it when he was little, but right now he plays whatever game involves him having to hide behind a building and Anthony coming to blow up someone. I mean, he's like, behind the building. Like he's whispering. It's 3:00 in the morning to school the next day.
Headset
It's
on.
really not. Yeah.
All right. Well, when can we expect That's My Time? When's the next episode popping? And it's you and is it Mike?
Me and Mike Sicoli.
Sicoli. I don't want to say it wrong,
Yeah.
but like, so you're discussing everyday topics, and so the next topic to kind of give us a flavor of what the next, what your show is. What's one of the current events that you're sure to talk about on your next episode?
Oh, we'll probably resume this week. We just had our last episode with Ken Krantz. That was the other day.
Okay.
It went very long, an hour and a half.
Wow.
I don't know. I couldn't even. I'm like, what? How long was that? And the next one will probably be sometime this week. We do it on the fly.
Okay.
We make sure we do one a week. We do it on the fly. We'll probably be talking about we got a lot of upcoming gigs. So we'll probably be talking about that stuff mostly.
Good. And did you both have spots at the Fifth Borough Comedy Fest?
Oh yeah. No, we did.
Okay.
Well, I run the thing, so of course.
Oh yeah, I got the choice slot. That's fucking great. Well, what is the choice slot? If you gave it to yourself, what would it be?
To be honest, not. I did not. I let there's 10 of us that run the festival.
Okay.
And I don't even touch the lineups.
Oh.
I let them create the lineups.
As long as you're on it.
So, I'm on with the shows that I produce, and we have an understanding. We have a lot of meetings throughout the last 3 years. These guys are good. They're getting it. They can run it without me easily, probably.
Good.
Sicoli was on the festival. We had some good shows, man. It's over though, thank God. Oh,
good.
Boy.
Well, now you can fucking unwind and talk about whatever's on the mind, and that's going to be. They can check that out. That's My Time podcast. That's on Instagram, and that's also you are the Kirsch, of course, on Instagram, but also Twitter. He's gonna start it up.
I'm gonna start it up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be a big tweeter. I'm gonna be a big tweeter.
The fact that he calls himself a big tweeter just shows how hip he is to the Twitter game.
Oh boy, I'm gonna be trending and just liking and following. I'm just gonna be all of the Twitter.
Such a follower. He's running the Fifth Borough Comedy Fest, but he's just a liker and a retweeter. He's gonna be twitting it up. That's at the Kirsch Comedy. So John Kurschner, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thank you for having me, and good luck with the podcast, pal. And maybe we'll meet up in live person.
Okay, dude, I can't wait. That's my time.
All right, thank you.